Okay, so get this. Today, we're going to do a deep dive into computer vision in healthcare.
Hmm.
We're talking algorithms that can see diseases, before we can even spot them ourselves.
Yeah.
It's like imagine getting diagnosed earlier, maybe even dodging like years of worry and, invasive treatments. That's the power this stuff has.
Yeah, and it's all thanks to AI.
Right.
Artificial intelligence is teaching computers to see and interpret images, kind of like we do.
Uh-huh.
And it's opening up some pretty amazing possibilities in medicine from, like you said, catching those early warning signs to guiding surgeons through those really tricky procedures.
Yeah, and you shared some awesome sources with me. They cover like medical imaging, surgery, even how doctors are training these days.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to unpack all of that. But first, let's hit on something that really grabbed my attention, tumor detection.
Okay.
The sources talk about algorithms that analyze like your MRI and CT scans, and they can potentially catch these tiny tumors that even the best radiologists might miss.
It's not just about catching what we might miss. It's that these algorithms can analyze tons of images
Right.
and learn to recognize these subtle patterns and features that are linked to certain diseases. This could really boost how accurate diagnoses are in a lot of fields, like dermatology, radiology, even pathology.
It's wild to think that companies like Viso.ai and PixelPLX are already on this, coming up with these solutions.
Yeah, and it's not just tumors anymore. Computer vision is being trained to spot a whole bunch of diseases, which could mean earlier and more accurate diagnoses for, well, a lot of people.
So we've got computer vision helping with early diagnoses, but what about treatment?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting. Imagine a surgeon wearing, those augmented reality headsets like the Apple Vision Pro,
I've heard of them.
and they're getting real-time data, visual aids,
Yeah.
right there during surgery.
Okay, that sounds like straight out a sci-fi movie. But this isn't just about the flash, right? It's got to be about helping surgeons be super precise, make things less invasive, and ultimately less risky, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially for, minimally invasive procedures, this tech could be a game changer.
Yeah. The sources also mention computer vision in robotic surgery, which is pretty mind-blowing in itself. Apparently, it's helping robots pull off these crazy complex surgeries with way more accuracy.
Makes you wonder, huh?
Yeah.
Are we headed towards, robots doing surgery solo?
Yeah.
A fascinating thought, if a little bit unnerving.
For sure, for sure. And even before the operating room, computer vision is shaking up surgical planning.
Hmm.
Imagine, okay, your surgeon is working with these detailed 3D models. They're made from your medical images.
Okay.
They can see all those complex anatomical structures and plan their approach in this whole new way.
It's really cool how computer vision is blending the real world and the digital world.
Yeah.
We're interacting with medical data in ways we couldn't even dream of a few years ago.
Yeah, totally. So computer vision can help with diagnoses, treatments, but what happens when you leave the hospital?
That's where remote patient monitoring comes in, and this is where I think computer vision has a real shot at revolutionizing things. Imagine, okay, your vital signs, how you move, even some behaviors, they can all be tracked remotely.
Okay.
That means we could catch potential problems way earlier. This is huge for people in remote areas, those who can't get around easily.
It reminds me of what the sources said about fall detection for the elderly, like a system that knows when someone falls and alerts their caregivers.
Exactly. That kind of quick response can prevent some serious injuries. And think about post-op care, too.
Yeah.
Computer vision could keep tabs on how you're recovering, spot any complications, leading to more tailored and effective care.
And before we move on from training, got to mention those digital loops.
Yeah.
These things, like the Amplio from the sources, they offer this insane microscope level view and recording for surgical training.
It means trainees can learn from the best, analyze procedures super closely, and potentially get up to speed much quicker. It's a great example of how tech can make high-level knowledge, expertise more accessible.
It all sounds pretty incredible, but are there downsides? I know the sources mention data privacy and needing loads of data to train these algorithms. Plus, there's the whole thing of getting this tech to work with our current healthcare systems.
You're hitting on some real challenges. We definitely got to make sure data privacy is front and center.
Right.
We need huge data sets to train these algorithms right. And of course, weaving this tech into how we do things now, it's going to take a lot of teamwork between the tech folks and the healthcare pros.
Sounds like we're at the very beginning of this journey with so much research happening so fast.
Oh, yeah, for sure. This is a field that's always changing. We're just scratching the surface of what's possible with computer vision in healthcare.
So, with computer vision potentially reshaping everything in healthcare, where do you see this going?
Well, one of the most exciting things is the potential for more personalized healthcare.
Uh-huh.
Imagine computer vision analyzing your data, just your data, and creating treatments and interventions that are tailored for you.
That's like the ultimate goal of precision medicine, right?
Exactly. And I think we'll see different technologies coming together, computer vision, working with things like AI, wearable sensors, maybe even gene editing.
That's mind-blowing. What about healthcare professionals? How do you see their roles changing?
I think they'll focus even more on interpreting the data, guiding patients through all those treatment choices, and providing that human touch that's vital in healthcare.
So it's not replacing humans with machines, it's giving humans these powerful
You
tools.
got it. And as this tech gets easier to get and more affordable, we could see healthcare outcomes improve for everyone, no matter where they live or their economic situation.
That's a really inspiring vision.
It is. But we got to remember, we're talking about people's lives here, their health. We need to approach this tech responsibly and carefully every step of the way.
Okay, let's dig into some of those amazing ways computer vision is being used. We talked about diagnoses, even surgery, but your sources mentioned some other fascinating areas. What jumps out at you?
Well, the stuff happening with drug discovery and development is amazing. Imagine algorithms going through huge data sets of cellular images, finding potential drug candidates, and speeding up the whole drug discovery process.
Wow, that sounds incredibly efficient. Could that mean new treatments are developed faster? Like way faster than the traditional way?
Absolutely. And it doesn't stop there. Computer vision could be huge in clinical trials, helping monitor patients, making sure they stick to their treatment plans and even see how effective those treatments are.
It sounds like the potential is just limitless. Your sources even mention areas like pathology, where computer vision could help pathologists make super accurate diagnoses by analyzing tissue samples.
And in ophthalmology, it's being used to detect eye diseases like diabetic retinopathy and glaucoma, often before there are even any noticeable symptoms. That early detection, that's key to preventing vision loss.
And of course, dermatology. Computer vision would be so helpful in analyzing skin images, catching things like skin cancer.
Right, right. The big thing to remember here is that computer vision isn't about replacing doctors or healthcare professionals. It's about giving them more information, better tools, so they can make the best decisions for their patients.
It's like giving them the superpower assistant, helping them see things they might miss and analyze data in ways that would take like forever for a human to do.
Exactly. And by letting computers handle some of the work, healthcare professionals can spend more time with their patients, focusing on that personalized care and building those relationships.
So it's about making things more efficient, more accurate, and ultimately getting better results for patients. It's a pretty powerful combination.
It really is. But, as we talked about before, we can't forget about the challenges that come with this tech.
Right, like making sure patient data is kept private and protected at every step. The sources talked about regulatory compliance too, which makes sense. Healthcare is a super regulated field.
Exactly. These new technologies have to meet really strict standards before we can use them widely. We need to make sure this technology is used safely, effectively, and that it helps everyone.
Sounds like a lot to think about, but it feels like we're at the start of a really exciting time in healthcare.
Oh, absolutely. It's a fascinating time, to be alive, witnessing this technological revolution unfold. It has the potential to totally change healthcare in some profound ways.
Okay, so computer vision has the potential to revolutionize healthcare, but let's bring it back to you, the listener, for a second. Think about this. If computer vision could change your healthcare experience, what would you want to see? What are your hopes for the future of medicine?
Yeah, that's a good one to think about. Really shows how technology isn't just about, the gadgets and all that. It's about helping people and making lives better.
For sure, for sure. And speaking of making lives better, we talked about how computer vision can change diagnoses, surgery, even post-op care. But the sources mentioned some other cool areas where it's making a difference.
One that comes to mind is drug discovery. Like, imagine algorithms analyzing all those huge data sets, of cellular images, helping researchers find potential drug candidates, and really speeding up that whole drug discovery thing.
That's incredible. New treatments could be developed so much faster. I mean, think of the impact that could have.
Exactly. And the potential doesn't just end there. Computer vision could be a game changer for clinical trials, making it easier to keep an eye on patients, see if they're sticking to their treatments, and even track how well those treatments are actually working.
Wow, the possibilities are pretty much endless, huh? The sources even talk about computer vision in pathology, helping pathologists make those really precise diagnoses by analyzing tissue samples.
And in ophthalmology, they're using it to detect eye diseases like diabetic retinopathy and glaucoma, often before there are even any symptoms. That early detection is so important for preventing vision loss.
And of course, I can see how computer vision could revolutionize dermatology, especially where it comes to analyzing skin images to detect things like skin cancer.
The thing is, computer vision isn't about replacing doctors or healthcare professionals. It's about giving them more info, better tools, so they can make the absolute best decisions for their patients.
It's like giving them a superpowered sidekick, right? Helping them spot things they might have missed and crunching data in ways that would take forever for us to do.
Exactly. And by automating some of these tasks, healthcare professionals can spend more time with their patients, focus on that personal touch and building those relationships.
It all boils down to efficiency, accuracy, and ultimately better outcomes for patients. That's a pretty winning combo.
It really is. But as we discussed earlier, we got to remember the challenges that come with bringing this tech into healthcare.
Right, like keeping that patient data safe and secure. The sources talked about regulatory compliance too, which makes sense. Healthcare is a highly regulated field.
Absolutely. These new technologies need to pass some serious tests before they can be used everywhere. We need to be sure it's safe, effective, and helps everyone.
It sounds like we need to tread carefully, but it's definitely an exciting time to be in healthcare.
It is. It is. Witnessing this technological revolution, it's pretty amazing.
Okay, so we've talked about all the good stuff, but are there any downsides or risks we need to watch out for as this tech keeps advancing?
Well, one thing that worries me is that we might rely too much on technology. We got to remember, algorithms are just tools. They should be used to help humans make decisions, not replace human judgment altogether.
So finding that sweet spot between human expertise and technological assistance.
Right, exactly. We don't want to become too dependent on the machines.
It makes you think about the impact this could have on healthcare professionals and how they do their jobs.
Absolutely. It's not about kicking healthcare workers to the curb. It's about giving them new tools, new insights. It's all about working together, not replacing each other.
That's a key point, for sure. Using tech to make humans better at what they do and building a more efficient and effective system for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. And as this tech keeps evolving, we need to keep having these open, honest conversations about what it means. We need to make sure it's developed and used responsibly and ethically, always focused on better patient care and outcomes.
A good reminder, it's not just about the tech itself, it's about how we use it and the impact it has on people's lives.
Exactly. And that's a responsibility we all share. Tech folks, healthcare professionals, policymakers, even patients. We all need to be part of this and work together to shape what healthcare tech looks like down the road.
So let's shift gears a bit and bring it back to our deep dive. We've covered so much ground already, but what were some of the things you found that really show computer vision in action? Things that really stood out to you?
The stuff with medical imaging is truly amazing. Being able to find tumors and other problems earlier and more accurately, that could totally change how we diagnose and plan treatments.
It's like giving doctors a whole new way to see, letting them spot things that would have been invisible just a few years ago.
Exactly. And what's happening in surgery is just as impressive. Imagine surgeons using augmented reality to get real-time guidance during a procedure, making it more precise and less invasive.
It's like something out of a sci-fi movie, but it's happening right now in operating rooms everywhere. It's mind-blowing to think about what might be possible.
And we can't forget about remote patient monitoring. Being able to track vital signs, movements, even how someone behaves all remotely, that opens up a whole world of possibilities for giving care outside the usual settings.
Especially promising for people in rural areas, those who can't get around easily, and even those who want to take charge of their health.
And it's not just about monitoring. Computer vision can also be used to detect falls, alert caregivers to potential problems, even give feedback on how a patient is recovering after surgery.
It's almost like having a virtual guardian angel looking out for you, even when you're at home.
That's a great way to put it. And the impact on medical training is huge. Tools like digital loops are giving surgeons in training a whole new way to learn from the pros, analyze procedures in detail, and really perfect their skills.
It's all about making that knowledge and expertise more available, which helps everyone.
Totally. And beyond all these specific examples, it's important to remember that computer vision is a field that never stops changing. We're bound to see even more uses for this tech in the years to come.
It's a really exciting field to be following, and I'm eager to see what breakthroughs are coming next.
Me too. But it's important to keep a critical eye on this technology, recognizing it can be used for good or bad. We need to be mindful and responsible in how we develop and implement it.
It's a powerful tool, that's for sure, and it can do a lot of good, but we need to use it wisely and for everyone's benefit.
I agree completely. It's a journey that requires careful thought and a commitment to doing things the right way,
Yeah.
ethically.
So it's clear this is just the beginning of a really exciting chapter in healthcare. But before we get lost in the future, let's come back to the present. We've talked a lot about computer vision, but are there any final thoughts or key points you'd like to leave our listener with? It feels like we just scratched the surface, but I think anyone listening has a good idea of how much computer vision could change healthcare.
Yeah, definitely. We talked about how it's already making a difference both for patients and for the people caring for them. And, well, the possibilities really do seem endless.
And we've looked at a lot of those possibilities, but I think it's important to remember that this isn't just about the tech itself. It's really about improving lives, helping people be healthier.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder that technology should be there to help people. And as we move forward, we need to keep in mind those ethical considerations and making sure everyone can benefit, no matter what.
So, as we wrap up our deep dive into computer vision in healthcare, any final thoughts you want to leave our listener with? Something to think about as they learn more about this.
I think it would be interesting for them to consider this. If computer vision could totally change one thing about your own healthcare, what would you pick? What are your hopes for the future of medicine?
That's a great question. Makes us think about how we can all be part of this, shaping the future of healthcare, not just watching it happen.
Exactly. And as computer vision and other technologies keep changing, it's going to be really exciting to see what happens next.
Well, that's a wrap for our deep dive into computer vision in healthcare. Hopefully, everyone listening has a better understanding of just how much this tech could change how we diagnose, treat, and manage health.
It's been a really interesting conversation, and I think it's clear that we're just starting to explore what's possible with computer vision in medicine. It's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Thanks for joining us, and until next time, keep exploring, keep imagining.